I was talking to a lifelong friend of mine in this beautiful industry, this beautiful hobby we have of coin collecting, on 2 Carson City Morgan dollars that I always see him buying. It's like, how many is enough? And he said, there's never enough. And I said, okay, give me a favor. You gave me the bait, and I'm going to take it. Walk me through it. And he says, when you look at the numbers, and he said, Steve, you're a numbers guy. I hear you on TV all the time. You're a numbers guy. Look at these numbers, and you'll buy them every time you see them as well. So let me share a little bit of his wisdom with my own tonight and take a peek at these 2 gorgeous Carson City specimens. Tonight we're talking about 2 of the later date Carson Cities, which is 1890 and 1891. But before I get into that, let's take a big step back and kind of go over the Morgan dollar, the Carson City Mint, and then we'll get into all the great stuff on these 2 coins. So we have the gold rush of 1849. Everybody remembers, we're all going out west, having a good time, looking for gold, fingers crossed, right? And a little after that, we find the largest silver find in American history, known as the Comstock Lode. And the silver interests out west petitioned the U.S. government to make a new silver dollar. We haven't had a silver dollar in production with large quantities because we didn't have enough silver. So the Bland-Allison Act is passed, and the design for the coin is this. Now, the designer's name is George T. Morgan. So the name is nicknamed the Morgan dollar, and fast forward now 150 years later, and here we are today, okay? So we have the Morgan dollar. It's introduced in 1878. It struck for 27 consecutive years through 1904, and then it's done. And then World War I, no silver dollars. We melt 60% of all the Morgans with the Pittman Act. And with the leftover silver that hasn't been used for war efforts, us and our allies, they restrike back into the Morgan dollar in 1921 until the peace dollar design is ready to go, which is late in the year. So we have 28 years overall. Philadelphia, San Francisco struck them all. New Orleans started late, 1879, ended early, 1904, 26 coins. But Carson City is that fabled Wild West mint. It was like, let's put a mint right next to where the silver is. But knowing the government, we're going to send all the blanks to San Francisco, all the silver to San Francisco and Philadelphia. We'll make blanks and then send them all the way back to Carson City to strike coins. Kid you not. So Carson City strikes the Morgan dollar for people going through the Midwest and it was the only coin they struck at this time in history, for 13 years, 1878 to 1885, and then they stopped. Presidency changed. President didn't like the mint being out west, was not a silver interest guy, killed it. And then he lost his re-election. Next president comes in, reopens it up again in 1889, and it runs through 1893. That guy gets back in office and closes the mint again. So the Carson City Mint is 13 years altogether. Small numbers overall. These 2 years in particular, 1890 and 1891. Well, here are the numbers. Let's talk about them. 16.8 Phillies, 10.7 million O's, 8.2 million S's, 2.3 million CC's. Winner by a long landslide. 91's no different. 8.6 Phillies, 7.9 New Orleans, 5.2 million S's, 1.6 on the CC scale. But here's when it all changes a little bit. Again, the numbers geek I referenced I am earlier. When we pulled silver from circulation in 35, silver dollars, right? And they kept them all in their vaults. And then we pull silver completely in 64, 90 percenters. The GSA, General Service Administration, does an audit of our vaults. And they find a bunch of silver dollars still in the crates from when they were originally made. Not bags, crates, which is an interesting format. Those are the Carson Cities. So when you look at the crates, and they break them down, they make a sale available to the American public in the early 1970s. Multiple, actually, in newspaper ads, or if you knew where to go. And you can get a Carson City Morgan dollar from the U.S. Mint for a premium. Here's the fun part about it. There were very few 1890s and 1891s. Very few. So as a result, were the 1878s the first year of issue, the 1885 the lowest minted Carson City, and all the others in between. But the GSA coins, none, which means there was no extra of these two to go around. So he said, Steve, that's why I go and I look for the coins that weren't in the hoard. Because we know most of them were destroyed or are just ugly, which is the traditional case for a Carson City. Any circulated Morgan that was there in the hands of the Rough Riders or in the hands of the wagon train on the Oregon Trail. So these two coins kind of fit into that mold because the 78s, 79s, 80s, 81s, 82s, 3s, 4s, and 5s were all in the GSA hoard. Very few 90s, very few 91s, no 89s, right? We've spoken of, and no 92s, 93s. So the later break, we separated them for 4 years and then brought them back. That was where it all happened. And that's why, again, I look at it and say, I've always loved the coins. Knowing the other side of it, which I knew, sometimes you just got to be reminded where to look, kind of opened up my eyes to the wow on this particular 2-year grouping. Now, all of our coins are hand-selected, circulated, like you see on your screen. They are outright gorgeous. This last show we were at, between Grant, Allison, and myself, I want to say we looked at 100 to 150 Carson cities in beautiful circulated condition. And I think we bought 25 coins. Because they either have rim dings, there's a big gouge, the discolorization is like somebody tried to clean it, so it looked like it was made yesterday, yet it was a circulated coin. If you've been to coin shows, you know how frustrating that is. You look at the front and say, I love it, turn it over to see the mint mark, the CC right there, and it's like, yeah, not for me. The competition. You ready? Same exact coin. $7.59. Same exact coin. $5.59. Here's another secret. The 91's actually rarer than the 90. I can't figure that pricing out. Bottom line is this, we are way under that of our competition. Guys, I have been talking so much I haven't been paid attention to the graphics you've been throwing at me. We are in a little bit of a fast busy. Remember, AVC Coins is always there to help us, and I do have to give a 30-second clock. So again, smartphone, tablet, home computer, always join us. And we have other CCs there. But tonight, I'm just talking about the inside scoop from a lifelong friend that, wrote books on this topic and kind of reiterated to me why a few of these that aren't that expensive are still very special and should be always considered. And tonight, that is the 1890 and the 1891, especially when you're looking at prices below $500. And we're half of that tonight. That's what makes it special. Thanks for listening.